What's up everyone, it's Kelvin here and we are in San Francisco today in the heart of downtown San Francisco at Moscone Center, and we are going to take a close look at Semicon. Now for those of you who have never heard of Semicon, well, Semicon is the premier conference for semiconductor technology, and Semicon West takes place here in beautiful San Francisco. All right, let's check out Semicon West. Everything in Moscone Center is below, so we're gonna head down the escalator. Semicon is actually a 3-day conference starting on Tuesday through Thursday, and we're here on the third day on Thursday. But the great thing about Semicon this year is that it's all virtual. So if you're catching this video a little bit later, just know that you can go back online and see the entire conference virtually. Now I know a lot of you guys are stuck in the lab all day and you know, working hard, grinding it out. But sometimes it's okay to take a little break and get out there and see what else exists in the semiconductor world, right? And today I'm here with boots on the ground, and I'm gonna show you some cool stuff that you may not have ever seen before at Semicon. Just look at all the vendors that came out today to Semicon 2021. So many different exhibitors, and we can't cover them all, but we're gonna try to give you at least an interesting glimpse at some of the coolest technologies being developed right now. Now, one of the most important parts of the semiconductor fab process is automation, right? Automation. So there's a lot of these interesting looking gadgets, interesting looking actuators that help to move wafers around where they're supposed to go and help with automating the semiconductor processing process, basically. Look at this cool robot arm here that's doing all this automated tasks that are pretty mundane for the normal person, but for this machine they can go all day long, right? Right here we have a wafer processing machine, and look at what it's doing. It's doing some kind of a visual inspection of the wafer. And this very state-of-the-art machine probably cost a fortune, but all the analytics, all the data come out on the computer, and you can check to see if the wafer is working or not, or if it's good or not, actually. Look at this cool machine here. This is what they call the high throughput machine. So we can see here that it's doing the analysis for defects, actually. So I just spoke with the representative and they said this is the high throughput defect measuring machine. And it's fantastic looking. Just check it out. Now, I don't know if you guys know what this is. Can anyone take a guess? This is an ingot. Right, this is an ingot. Let's look here. This is a ingot semiconductor. Don't know what material, but pretty neat. So I just talked to the representative here at Yongdo Global, and he told me that this is the ingot processing machine here, where they grow the ingot. Here there's a superconducting magnet, and they pull the ingots out of this. Isn't that neat? And this is what I was told. He said it's about 5 times bigger than this. And that's the ingot. Silicon ingot, and here's another one over here. Silicon ingot. It's amazing. We've got more very interesting high precision machines here, linear actuator machines, doing some sort of automated process here. But it's really cool, really neat little robotics for the semiconductor wafer industry. Okay, so we're here at the Keyence booth, and they have this really interesting inspection microscope. And right here what we're doing is we are scanning this D-sub connector here, and it's creating a really interesting model of that.
Nice to see you again. Yeah, you too.
2.5D model, high resolution of the D-sub connector, and it can detect any kind of imperfections and model them in software. This one is
What do you guys do?
actually
We build IO
videoing
controllers
a SMT here
that
that we can see
have
here.
lots and lots of connectors.
You can get a really close view of the PCB
all kinds of stuff.
and inspect it for
There are people
imperfections.
who have come to my computer several times. They haven't connected yet.
Look at these really cool vacuum systems here. We've got this vacuum chamber here. Beautiful brushed chrome. Osaka vacuum. It's just really interesting to see that this is where the semiconductor process starts, using a lot of vacuum chambers.
Use cases, you can start to identify your timelines. For example, if you have a use case that will run, for example, on a 1,000 qubit machine, then your time pressure is approximately 2 years from now.
Look at this setup right here. If I didn't know any better, I think it's one of those vapor bars, you know, where you just inhale some flavored vapor. But no, this is something a little bit different. This is chemical and gas blending delivery systems. Isn't that neat? Over here we've got a high-speed wafer feeder. And take a look at this machine, this hulking machine here. Very advanced. Doing all the wafer processing, loading and so forth, and scanning the reticle. And take a look at that. Take a look inside there. It's amazing what goes into fabricating, testing, inspecting semiconductors. Check out this magnificent wafer tester, TH2000, not T1000. But look at here, we've got all these high-speed probes just going at it, going at the wafer, performing a plethora of whatever tests it's been programmed for, DC, RF, and so forth. But look at how fast this machine has to move just to make sure that this wafer is clean and good. It's amazing. This is the next series wafer and probe card tester, and I just spoke with the representative here. And if you look behind here, behind these test heads, there is a very large probe card PCB, and what I was told is that the advantage of this vertical mounted system is that you can do both sides. So look how fast these test heads are moving. It's doing like a DC test, just poking and prodding at the PCB, and on the other side it's doing the same thing. So if you take a look here, we've got more test heads doing the same thing on the other side of the board, and I think that's a really neat idea. Awesome. Take a look at this robotic arm loading these wafers into here. If you see this wafer tray, you can see the wafers being loaded in and out. And if you go behind it, there's a robotic arm. All right, and that's it for our sneak peek at the Semicon West conference. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time in 2022.